earlier today. The summit was held in the virtual format. The meeting was chaired by Honorable Prime Minister and was attended by the presidents of Kazakhstan, China, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and Prime Minister of Pakistan. Heads of state of SCO observers, namely Iran, Belarus, and Mongolia and Turkmenistan, participated as guest of the chair. Heads of two permanent standing bodies of the SCO, Secretary General of SCO and Director SCO Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure, RATS, plus heads of international and regional organizations, including the UN Secretary General, heads of SICA, that is Conference on Interaction and Confidence Building in Asia, CSTO, Collective Security Treaty Organization, CIS, Commonwealth of Independent States, and Eurasian Economic Commission. They also attended the meeting. You all would have heard Honorable Prime Minister's remarks that were telecast live. To briefly capture a sense of it, Prime Minister underlined the India's contribution to SCO, especially in the last 6 years as member state, highlighted the new spheres of cooperation introduced and nurtured by India in the SCO, especially in the field of startup and innovation, traditional medicine, youth empowerment, digital inclusion, and shared Buddhist heritage of SCO member states. Need to work together to eliminate the menace of terrorism in the region and globally, in consistency with Article 1 of the SCO Charter. Equally and condemn terrorism and eliminate safe havens, flow of finance to such activities. Fight against terrorism as the basic mandate of SCO still remains a central goal of SCO, something that was underlined, emphasized by the Honorable Prime Minister and also echoed in the room by other countries. In terms of the flow of discussions and the points that were covered by different leaders at this summit, all of them exchanged views on the topical regional and international issues, on how to further deepen cooperation among the SCO member states within the SCO format, the issue of what proposals should be taken up for the reform and modernization of the organization, and also the common issues that concerning the region as also the organization. All the leaders welcomed the completion of procedure for Iran to join as the organization's full member state. Prime Minister also congratulated President Raisi on this occasion. The leaders also welcomed the decision on signing the Memorandum of Obligation of Belarus to join the organization as a member state. The process of Belarus membership will be completed by 2024 SCO Summit next year. As the outcome of the summit, the leaders adopted the New Delhi Declaration and two thematic joint statements, one on cooperation in countering radicalization leading to separatism, extremism, and terrorism, and the second one on cooperation in the field of digital transformation. Besides, the leaders also signed a total of 10 decisions. Those decisions would be available to you separately. Essentially, a set of outcomes that are aimed at furthering the cooperation among the SCO member states in order to fulfill its objectives. You would all be aware that when India assumed the presidency of SCO in September last year, after the Samarkand summit of SCO, Prime Minister Modi had articulated India's priority for the SCO chair with theme of towards a secure SCO. Secure standing for security, economic development, connectivity, unity, respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, and environmental protection. It provides essentially the template of our endeavors and the action that we took under our presidency. All our initiatives and proposals that we put forward during the SCO meetings in the time frame of our presidency were essentially structured and choreographed around this core objective of secure SCO, and our intention to open up new areas of cooperation and intensify an engagement within the SCO was also built around it. Uh, at the India's initiative, two new mechanisms were created in SCO. We have spoken about this in the past also, namely the Special Working Group on Startups and Innovation and Expert Level Working Group on Traditional Medicine. The first meetings of these two working groups would be held towards the latter part of this year, and that would be aimed at framing cooperation among the SCO member states in these two areas. During our presidency, India hosted more than 134 events in the last 9 months. Unprecedented level of engagement with the dialogue partners and observers of SCO was also an essential component of it. There were, in total, as part of our presidency, 15 ministerial level meetings and 4 heads of agency meetings across different areas. And the outcomes and decisions of those ministerial meetings have been captured in the various outcome documents of the SCO. I would just highlight 5 initiatives that were proposed by India and adopted at these ministerial level meetings under India's presidency. The first was on the concept of the development of digital public infrastructure, DPIs, for the promotion of digital technologies among the population, in particular digital inclusion and innovation. This is something which found mention and was echoed by almost all the leaders in today's summit proceedings. Two, on the cooperation among the SCO member states on emerging fuels. Three, on challenges, working together to combat the challenges of climate change, plastic pollution, marine plastic litter, air pollution, with focus on resource efficiency and circular economy. Related to that, but in a more action oriented sequence, decarbonizing the transport infrastructure, promoting digital transformation and innovative technologies, again for efficiency and higher sustainability through cooperation among the SCO member states. And lastly, the first ever report on digital financial inclusion policies of the SCO member states. Besides, digital financial inclusion policies in the SCO member states. Uh, there was also a substantial segment of socio-cultural activities during India's presidency. This included SCO Millets Festival. I think it was in Mumbai, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. SCO Film Festival, SCO Cultural Showcasing at Surajkund Mela, SCO Tourism Mart, SCO Conference on Traditional Medicine. This was in the business to business format. And all these initiatives and events held under India's presidency received quite remarkable and robust response from the SCO member states. As I just earlier on mentioned, uh, we also organized several activities that were focused on the youth populations within the SCO countries, events like Young Scientists Conclave, Young Authors Conclave, SCO Young Resident Scholars Program, SCO Startup Forum, SCO Youth Council, SCO Conference on the Role of Youth in Community Development. The idea essentially is that you broad base the substance of cooperation among the SCO member states, add stakeholders that are other than the government also, ensure their participation in a manner that essentially in New Delhi. A special chair, and I would like to mention this in particular, a special chair on the shared Buddhist heritage was also created at the Nalanda University under the Government of India arrangements. And to mark India's first ever presidency of SCO, a commemorative stamp was also released last month in June. I am also pleased to inform that an Indian themed New Delhi Hall was inaugurated recently at the SCO Secretariat in Beijing. It will essentially be showcasing a mini India in the SCO Secretariat. New Delhi Hall, in case that's what you are inquiring. The the summit also saw today extensive felicitation and congratulation of the leadership by India of its presidency, the extensive reach that we ensured all over the country in hosting the 134 events, the substance to the outcomes of SCO cooperation in line with the SCO charter and its objectives, and one of the larger purpose, which is to strengthen not just cooperation among the governments and the systems, but also people-to-people ties among the SCO member states. I would stop here. If there are questions, we'll take that.
Thank you very much. Please introduce yourself and the organization you represent. Let me start with you, actually. I saw you.
Sir, we heard the Russian president
introduce yourself and the organization.
Sridhar from the Asian Age and Deccan Chronicle. Sir, we heard the Russian president say that talk about the trade and commerce between Russia and China and rubles and yuan, and also there are reports that Indian oil companies are making payments in yuan to Russia. Just wanted to comment on that. And a related query, the Kyrgyz president said that the SCO had failed to...
Just hang on. Did you say that the Indian oil companies are making payment in yuan?
Yeah, that's what the reports...
that's not related to the SCO, and I saw a media report on it. I don't think those are Reuters media.
Okay.
Are you quoting a report? Or are you making a statement?
No, I read a report yesterday, sir, on this issue
sure.
about Indian oil companies making payment. And also related query, the Kyrgyz president said that the SCO had not lived up to its promise and potential in the field of trade and finance. So could you get a comment from you on that as well, please? Thank you.
Right. Yeshi.
This is Yeshi Seli from the New Indian Express. So can you elaborate a little on the digital financial inclusion amongst the digital financial inclusion, and also Bhashini? I mean, is it a platform which is ready to use, or it is just an idea that the PM talked about? Bhashini, the artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I don't know. Swasini.
I hope it's not too late to ask this question, but since you spoke about the unprecedented interactions held in, under the SCO rubric, the question again, why was the SCO not held? Why was this SCO not held in person? It was certainly a huge contrast to the SCO held just last year in Uzbekistan, as well as to plans for the upcoming G20 here. So if those could have been held, presumably COVID was not the reason, why could this one not be held in person? And my second question is a small one. At the foreign ministers meeting, we did hear about the possibility of a decision on English being taken as one of the formal languages at the SCO. Was there any movement on that?
No, you please.
सर मैं मुकेश कौशिक हूँ दैनिक भास्कर से। मैं आतंकवाद की तरफ जो पाकिस्तान जो मोदी जी ने इशारा किया है कि टेररिज्म हैज बिकम ए मेजर थ्रेट, उसमें अगली लाइन कोट करके मेरा सवाल मैं पूछना चाहता हूँ। सम कंट्रीज आर यूजिंग क्रॉस बॉर्डर टेररिज्म एज एन इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ देयर पॉलिसीज प्रोवाइडिंग शेल्टर टू टेररिज्म, एंड देयर शुड नॉट बी नो प्लेस ऑफ डबल स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑन सच सीरियस मैटर्स। सर मैं अपने हिंदी पाठकों को समझाना चाहता हूँ कि पाकिस्तान के अलावा कौन सा देश है
आप
जो क्रॉस बॉर्डर
प्रश्न
टेररिज्म
पूछ रहे हैं कि कमेंट?
सवाल
सवाल क्या है
नहीं,
आपका?
पाकिस्तान के अलावा
हम्म।
आपने कहा सम कंट्रीज, तो पाकिस्तान के अलावा कौन सा देश का जिक्र
आप
कर रहे हैं?
प्रधानमंत्री जी को सुन तो लिया आपने, आप चाहेंगे कि हम
नहीं।
क्लैरिफाई करें? एनीवे मैं
पाकिस्तान
नोट
के
कर
अलावा
दूंगा।
कौन सा देश है जिसमें हम सम कंट्रीज कह रहे हैं,
Some countries.
और चाइना के अलावा कौन सा देश है जो डबल स्टैंडर्ड अपनाता है?
अच्छा, थैंक यू, आपने उत्तर दे ही दिया। आपको मैं क्या क्या कहूँ, मैं रहने के लिए कुछ कहा नहीं। उन्होंने सवाल का उत्तर भी दे दिया कि पाकिस्तान के अलावा और कौन सा देश टेररिज्म करता है, और चाइना के सिवा कौन डबल स्टैंडर्ड करता है। अच्छा, आई हैड वन मोर हैंड हियर, या आयुषी।
Sir Ayush Agarwal from ANI. So, in the context of connectivity, Prime Minister also talked about respecting sovereignty and territorial integrity. So, was that a message to Pakistan and China on the BRI and CPEC routes passing through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir? Since earlier we saw there were reports of, expansion of CPEC despite India's concern.
Again, you want us to analyze what PM said.
Yes.
Anyway, I will try to pass that question on. Just one second. Let me just clarify, actually. Your first question was referred to what the Chinese president mentioned. That was actually, oh, sorry, Russian president mentioned what? What is the question? Yeah, so your question is actually not on that. That's what Foreign Secretary is actually asking. His comment was about Russia and China trading in ruble and yuan. I have, of what? Of trading in national currencies, which we have also been supporting. I don't realize the question specific to SCO. I don't think that's in the parameter of this one, so I will pass the rest of them. So, Kyrgyz one, yes, noted. Should we take a few more questions, sir? Or, okay, sir. Okay, yeah, ma'am, yeah, please.
Runjan Sharma, India correspondent, RT. Putin suggested to transform the regional anti-terrorist structure of the SCO into a universal center that would respond to a range of security threats. Now, how much closer military cooperation does India think is possible within the SCO?
Sorry, how are the two statements related?
How?
Military cooperation is not what RATS is about.
Sorry?
The regional anti-terrorist is not military. So I just want to make sure that that link is not evident to me. However, we'll take that question. Okay, somebody else had a hand here? Amitabh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Shah Matu with the Mint. So the Prime Minister in his speech basically stated as well that he asked whether the SCO was evolving into an organization that was prepared for the future. And this was seen as a comment on whether the SCO has made the reforms and modernizations necessary. He also said that India will support reform and modernization proposals. Can you point to any specific proposals that India will be backing, as well as things that the SCO needs that SCO is not filling? And also just a quick question to add to that. In terms of emerging fuels, which was mentioned as a new area of cooperation, is there anything specific? Can you give some more flavor on what that cooperation look like?
You take this round or? No? Okay. Okay, you don't want to take all the questions, sir? Yeah, you had a query. Yeah, go ahead. Salish.
Yeah, basically the same.
Please introduce yourself in the organization.
Sandeep Dixit Tribune.
Thank you.
Basically the same. In concrete terms, we would like to know what are the reforms that SCO is undertaking. And we heard the minister at Goa where he said that they would like to introduce English as the third language after Mandarin and Russian. And basically, what are the concrete areas of reform and expansion?
I saw one more hand here. Yeah, go ahead.
सर, प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने क्षेत्रीय अखंडता मधुरेंद्र न्यूज नेशन से।
थैंक यू सर।
प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने अपने स्पीच में ओपनिंग नोट में कहा कि संप्रभुता और क्षेत्रीय अखंडता का सम्मान किया जाए। दूसरी तरफ हमने देखा और सुना कि चीन के राष्ट्रपति ने BRI प्रोजेक्ट में सभी SCO सदस्य देशों को शामिल करने की बात कही, जो कि हमारे क्षेत्रीय अखंडता के लिए सबसे बड़ा सवाल है अगर हम पाकिस्तान ऑक्युपाइड कश्मीर में सीपीएक के लिहाज से देखें तो क्या ये माना जाए कि SCO के मंच पर संप्रभुता और क्षेत्रीय अखंडता को लेकर आम सहमति नहीं है देशों में?
हमारा मतलब ठीक है सर। ओके, थैंक यू सर।
Let me just first round up the questions relating, there were 2-3 of them relating to sovereignty, territorial integrity. आपका भी आखिरी प्रश्न इसी के विषय पे था. You see, you would have, many of you would have followed the proceedings today, and the references to sovereignty and territorial integrity came both in the context of the charter of the SCO as also relating to the connectivity projects that the SCO member states are. In fact, connectivity was one of the key areas of focus in terms of cooperation among the SCO member states. But you would have heard and seen that Honorable Prime Minister clearly said in his remarks that connectivity is good and important for cooperation among the SCO member states, but connectivity has to be respectful of concerns relating to sovereignty and territorial integrity. That was very clearly stated. That is something which, on which India's position, both vis-a-vis how sovereignty and territorial integrity should be respected within the connectivity projects, how that interfaces with BRI. I think India's position on that has been clear and well known on that question. देखिए, जहाँ तक संप्रभुता और क्षेत्रीय अखंडता के प्रश्न का सवाल है, प्रधानमंत्री जी ने अपने वक्तव्य में स्पष्ट रूप से कहा और आप सबने सुना भी होगा कि जहाँ तक कनेक्टिविटी का मुद्दा है, क्षेत्रीय आर्थिक सहयोग के लिए SCO मेंबर स्टेट्स में आपस में सहयोग और सहकार्य के लिए कनेक्टिविटी बहुत महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दा है, लेकिन यह भी आवश्यक है कि कनेक्टिविटी किसी भी देश की संप्रभुता और क्षेत्रीय अखंडता को वायलेट ना करे. ये प्रधानमंत्री जी ने स्पष्ट रूप से कहा है. ये भारत की पोजीशन पहले भी रही है, चाहे वो कनेक्टिविटी प्रोजेक्ट्स लार्जर कॉन्टेक्स्ट में हो या BRI के संदर्भ में हो. There was earlier a question on the use of English. I'm told that this is something which is ongoing. The discussions within the SCO framework, which discusses reforms and the general modernization of the SCO, the use of English in the work of SCO besides Mandarin and Russian. I think that is a continuing discussion among the member states to see how that can be taken forward. You see, this question came up in several forms. The question of terrorism, mandate of the regional anti-terrorism structures of RATs of the SCO. And as I mentioned in my opening remarks, the priority among the SCO member states to fight against the menace of terrorism is actually very clearly spelled out in Article 1 of the SCO Charter, which talks of the need for the SCO countries to come together to counteract problems of terrorism, separatism, and extremism. And the regional anti-terrorist structures that is headquartered in Tashkent essentially was framed and built essentially to meet this particular charter objective of the SCO. And that is a forum which brings together the SCO member countries in terms of what should be the modalities of cooperation among the SCO member states to fight this challenge. Now, whether that is in terms of information exchange on the specifics of the terrorism, extremism, separatist problem, whether that is related to the sharing of assessments among the SCO member states, and how exactly should the SCO member states strengthen cooperation among themselves to fight these challenges. Naturally, as the SCO has grown, the elements of cooperation in this space have also continued to grow. But one thing which it doesn't include is the military cooperation. I think that was the specific question. But I wanted to use the opportunity to answer to that question, to also frame it in the larger perspective of how the SCO member state prioritize uh, addressing the challenges of terrorism, separatism, and extremism, and how that cooperation is anchored insofar as SCO member states are concerned within the regional inter-terrorist structure, RATS, that is headquartered uh, uh, in uh, in Tashkent. Uh, on virtual summit question which was asked earlier on, uh, this is something which we had responded to in great detail when we had held the original presser about the SCO summit in one of the previous briefings. There are a number of factors that go behind a decision in holding the summit, in this case, the virtual summit, um, which in no way signifies, hints, insinuates the dilution in the objectives that we are trying to seek of the SCO summit. If anything, if you look at the range of activities that India has undertaken during our presidency, and I mentioned to you 134 meetings, events, not just of political nature, but also of economic nature and the cultural nature. Uh, the number of new initiatives that we have introduced during our presidency, number of new mechanisms that the two key ones which I mentioned, one on the working group on I think it was startups, and the second one was on the traditional medicines. Now, those are areas of extreme relevance and importance, both from the public health perspective when you look at traditional medicine, and innovation in terms of the future areas of economic growth, and also of partnership from among the SCO member countries, which allows me partly to segue into the question that was pegged on the statement by the Kyrgyz president, which was on the need for greater cooperation among the member states on economic issues in general, and trade, and particularly the financing modalities in particular. In fact, the question of a need for greater financing modalities was also something which was mentioned by, I think, a couple of other leaders at the summit today also. Look, all along, one of the primary areas of importance for cooperation among the SCO member states has been to focus on how to really increase trade, technology, investment, tourism-related linkages. You would have heard several references to tourism, cooperation on tourism areas from among the member states. And that, in some ways, connects to the decisions to declare cultural capitals also, which has a very strong linkage with the tourism element of the cooperation. Naturally, when you talk of these areas, you cannot also not talk of developmental paradigms that are there in the SCO member countries. Now, each SCO member country tends to approach developmental objectives through its own template. Obviously, one of the key requirements in these developmental initiatives is to have a financing modality, because you need to finance developmental activity. India has a very robust form of robust developmental cooperation with many of the SCO member states, particularly in the Central Asian countries. But this is definitely one of the areas on which SCO member states are very heavily focused, and in charting next steps. And so when we talk of working group on startup and innovation, this in a way begins to address those areas of partnership, uh, which perhaps can be undertaken even without large financing requirements. They link directly to the aspirations of the youth in the society. And three, they are becoming a very important segment of the new emerging domains of the economy, not just in India, but in other countries of SCO member states also. And this is something which has been traditionally a strong strength for us, and we think the SCO member states can benefit significantly based on what we bring to the table on this. Just see. Yeah. So, Yeshi, to your question on Bhashini, uh, the use of this is something which is, I think, has been put forward by India in terms of how the AI. I don't know whether this is in a generative phase or a non-generative phase AI, but idea is to
July, sir.
yeah. No, the idea essentially is that the technologies associated with the domain of artificial technology, uh, how they can be leveraged to meet the developmental challenges within the SCO member states, how India's experience in using AI and other related technologies in the digital space. So when we talk, in fact, one of the key documents, outcome documents that has been signed, thematic statement that has been signed today by the leaders, pertains to the cooperation in the digital space and artificial intelligence platforms. The one Bhashini, of course, is a very concrete example, how they can be put forward on the table in terms of our capacities and used by the SCO member states to see how it can fulfill some of their developmental, economic, and innovation priorities that they might have in the country. Is there a specific thing in your mind on digital financial? Yeah, it's a report which is there, which has come out as one of the ministerial meetings.